The council chamber fell silent as Ambassador David walked to the center platform. Above him, the curved ceiling displayed the stars of 1,000 worlds. Around him, alien representatives sat in their designated seats, watching with curious eyes. David carried Earth's application in his hands. Behind him stood 2 human guards in simple uniforms. They looked small compared to the massive aliens filling the chamber. Chairman Vex rose from his seat. His tall, insectoid body clicked and shifted as he moved. His multiple eyes focused on the human below. "So," Vex said, his voice echoing through translators, "these are the humans, the ones who wish to join our peaceful council." Whispers spread through the chamber. David noticed the tone. It was not welcoming. "We come in friendship," David began. "Earth offers our knowledge, our resources, and your world classification," interrupted Counselor Turk. The reptilian alien leaned forward, his scales gleaming under the lights. "It says here that Earth is a Class 12 death world. Is this correct?" David nodded. "Yes, our planet has challenging conditions," but laughter erupted from several seats. David's jaw tightened, but he remained calm. Counselor Maya, her blue skin shimmering, spoke next. "Challenging? Your report mentions natural disasters, deadly weather, poisonous creatures, and diseases that kill millions. Most of us come from Class 1 or Class 2 worlds. Paradise planets where such horrors do not exist. Those conditions made us strong," David replied. "They taught us to survive, to adapt, to be violent," Vex interrupted again. "Your history is filled with wars, thousands of conflicts. Your own species fighting itself for resources, land, and beliefs. This is not the way of the Council." Turk nodded in agreement. "You are barbarians, primitives who barely escaped your own world. Your technology is crude. Your ships run on controlled explosions. You still use kinetic weapons like ancient savages." More laughter filled the chamber. David felt his blood pressure rising, but his face remained neutral. Years of diplomatic training kept his anger hidden. "We may be different," David said carefully, "but we have much to offer." "We have experienced that. Experience in killing," Maya said coldly. "We do not need that here. The Council has maintained peace for 3,000 years. We have no use for Deathworlders who only understand violence." David took a deep breath. "If I may, Council, there is another matter. Our intelligence has detected unusual activity in the Outer Rim sectors. Large fleet movements. We believe. You believe?" Vex cut him off. "You have been in space for less than a century. You know nothing of galactic affairs. We have sensors across 1,000 systems. If there were threats, we would know. Our military observers have seen." "Your military," Turk said with disgust. "Of course you maintain armies, weapons, warships. We have moved beyond such things. The Council settles disputes with words, not guns." David pulled out a data pad. "Please, just look at these readings. There are at least 200 ships gathering near the border. They match descriptions of the Crother Empire. If they are planning an attack..." "Enough!" Vex's voice boomed. "We will not be frightened by the paranoid delusions of warlike Deathworlders. The Crother have not been seen in this sector for centuries. You come here with tales of war because that is all you know." The chairman looked around the chamber. "I call for a vote. All those in favor of denying Earth's application for Council membership?" Hands, claws, and tentacles rose throughout the room. David counted them. Nearly unanimous. "The decision is made," Vex declared. "Humanity is too dangerous, too unstable, and too primitive for Council membership. You may leave." David stood still for a moment. His guard shifted behind him, angry at the insult. But David raised his hand, stopping them. "You are making a mistake," David said quietly. Not about us. About the threat coming. When it arrives, you will not be ready. We do not need lessons from barbarians, Maya said. Please go. David turned and walked toward the exit. His footsteps echoed in the silent chamber. As he reached the door, he paused and looked back. When the darkness comes, he said, remember that you were warned. The doors closed behind him. In the hallway, his aide, a young woman named Rita, walked beside him. They laughed at us, she said, her voice shaking with anger. Yes, David replied. His face was calm, but his eyes were cold. They'll learn soon enough. 3 weeks passed. The distress signal came in the middle of the night cycle on Nexus Prime Station. Alarms blared through every corridor. Council members rushed from their quarters in confusion. Chairman Vex reached the command center first. The screens showed dozens of red markers appearing in space. Ships, hundreds of them, dropping out of hyperspace like a swarm of deadly insects. What is happening? Vex demanded. The station commander, a four-armed being named Jox, worked frantically at his controls. Unknown vessels, Chairman. They are not responding to our signals. They are opening fire on the outer defense platforms. The screens showed bright flashes. Council defense platforms exploded one by one. They were designed to ward off pirates and small threats. Not this. Who are they? Maya asked, running into the command center. Jox's face went pale. Identifying marks now. Chairman. It's the Krather Empire. Silence fell over the room. The Krather were legends. Stories told to frighten children. Massive warriors who conquered entire sectors centuries ago before disappearing into the unknown regions. Send distress signals, Vex ordered. All frequencies. We need help. Contact the Council defense fleets. Already done, Chairman, Jox replied. But our nearest military ships are 3 days away. The Krather will be here in hours. Turk burst through the door. This cannot be happening. We have peace. We have treaties. An explosion rocked the station. The screens showed Krather warships advancing. They were massive, dark vessels covered in armor plating. Weapons fired continuously, destroying everything in their path. Send word to all Council species, Vex said desperately. Someone must help us. Over the next hour, responses came back. Most Council races were fleeing to their home systems. Others surrendered immediately. None were coming to help. The Krather fleet surrounded Nexus Prime Station. Their flagship, a ship twice the size of the station itself, moved into position. A message broadcast across all channels. This is Commander Drog of the Krather Empire. You have grown soft, Council. Your peace has made you weak. Surrender now, and we will make your deaths quick. Resist and suffer. The voice was deep, filled with malice. On the screens, images showed Krather warriors. They were giants, over 3 meters tall, covered in thick armor and natural plating. They carried weapons designed to tear through anything. Vex collapsed into his chair. What have we done? Maya looked at him. The humans. They warned us. The Deathworlders we mocked, Turk whispered. They knew. On Earth, in the military command center deep below Geneva, alarms rang. Admiral Stone stood before a massive display screen. The distress signal from Nexus Prime played on repeat. They ignored our warning, said General Price, standing beside him. They laughed at us, sir. Called us barbarians. I remember, Stone replied. His weathered face showed no emotion. What's the status of Third Fleet? Ready to deploy, Admiral. 50 ships fully armed. We can reach Nexus Prime in 18 hours if we push the engines. Stone looked at the screen showing the Council station under siege. He thought about the insults. The mockery. The rejection. Sir? Price asked. What are your orders? Do we ... Do we help them? The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Other officers watched him, waiting. Finally, Stone spoke. Yes, we help them. But, sir, I know what they did, Stone interrupted. I know what they said. But we are human. We don't abandon people, even when they abandon us. That's what makes us different. That's what they don't understand about Deathworlders. He turned to face his command staff. Prepare Third Fleet for immediate deployment. Full battle readiness. Load all weapons. This is not a rescue mission. This is war. Orders flew through the command center. Across Earth, 50 warships powered up their engines. Crews rushed to battle stations. Weapon systems came online. Admiral Stone watched the preparations on his screens. He pressed a button to record a message. This is Admiral Stone to Third Fleet. We go now to face an enemy that has terrorized the galaxy. The Council called us primitive. They called us violent. They said we only understand war. He paused. They were right about one thing. We do understand war. And we're about to teach the Crother what happens when you threaten humanity's neighbors. The fleet launched from Earth orbit. 50 ships accelerated toward the hyperspace jump points. Their hulls were scarred from training in Earth's deadly conditions. Their weapons were tested in the harshest environments humans could create. They were Deathworlders. And they were bringing war. Asterisk. The human fleet tore through hyperspace, like bullets through water. Inside the flagship carrier Defiant, Admiral Stone stood on the bridge watching countdown timers. 18 hours had become 16 through pure determination and overclocked engines. Status report, Stone commanded. His tactical officer, Lieutenant Harris, checked his screens. All ships reporting ready, Admiral. Weapons charged. Shields at maximum. Fighter wings prepared for launch. Good. Stone zoomed in on the holographic display showing Nexus Prime. The Crother fleet surrounded it like predators circling wounded prey. Have they breached the station yet? Negative, sir. The Crother are taking their time. Intelligence suggests they enjoy prolonging the fear, making examples of their victims. Stone's expression darkened. That ends today. Around him, the bridge crew worked with focused intensity. These were men and women trained on Earth. They had survived selection programs that pushed candidates through deserts, oceans, and mountains. They understood what it meant to face death and keep fighting. Exiting hyperspace in 90 seconds, the navigation officer called out. Stone activated the fleet-wide channel. All ships, this is Stone. Remember your training. The Crother are bigger and stronger than us. Their ships have more armor, but they've never fought Deathworlders before. Show them what happens when you underestimate Earth. Across the fleet, crews responded. Fighter pilots climbed into their cockpits. Gunners calibrated targeting systems. Marines checked their weapons. Ready to board enemy vessels if needed. The timer reached the 0. Space ripped open as 50. Human warships dropped out of hyperspace. They emerged in perfect formation, arranged in a combat pattern that would have impressed any military strategist. On Nexus Prime Station, alarms blared again. Jock stared at his sensors in disbelief. Chairman. New contacts. 50 vessels just arrived. Vex rushed to look at the screens. His insectoid eyes widened. Who? Did the Council fleets finally arrive? No, sir. The signatures are. They're human ships. Silence fell over the command center. Maya moved closer to the displays. The humans? They came? After everything we said to them? Turk whispered. After we rejected them? On the screens, they watched the human fleet move into. Attacked positions between the station and the Crother forces. Commander, Drog sat on his command throne aboard the Crother flagship Blood Fang. His massive frame was covered in battle scars from 100 conquests. When his officer reported the new arrivals, he laughed. Humans? What are humans? Records show them as a new species, Commander. From a world called Earth. They were recently denied Council membership. Our intelligence says they are classified as Deathworld inhabitants. Drog's laughter grew louder. His subordinates joined in, their deep voices echoing through the bridge. Deathworlders. Drog roared. I have conquered 40 systems. I have destroyed civilizations that existed for millennia. And now these primitives think to challenge me? He stood up, his 3-meter height imposing even among his own kind. How many ships? 50, Commander. We have 200. Drog smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. This will be entertaining. Target the human vessels. Show them the price of interfering with the Crother Empire. The Crother fleet adjusted its formation. Massive weapons turrets swiveled toward the human ships. Energy readings spiked across the battlefield. Admiral Stone watched the enemy fleet react. They're taking the bait. All ships maintain formation. Wait for my signal. The Crother opened fire first. Blue plasma bolts screamed through space toward the human fleet. Each shot carried enough energy to vaporize a small moon. Brace for impact. Harris shouted. The plasma struck human shields. The Defiant shook, but held. Across the fleet, other ships absorbed similar hits. Their shields flared bright, but did not break. On the Crother flagship, Drog stopped laughing. What? Those shields should not withstand our weapons. What kind of technology do these humans possess? His officer checked readings frantically. Commander, their shield harmonics are different from Council designs. They seem to be reinforced for high-energy particle impacts. Almost like they were built to withstand stellar radiation and extreme environmental conditions. Deathworld technology, Drog muttered. Interesting. But shields alone will not save them. Continue firing. Stone watched the Crother barrage continue. His ships held position, absorbing punishment that would have destroyed any Council vessel. He waited, counting seconds. Admiral, shields at 70% and holding, Harris reported. Good. They've committed to their attack pattern. Stone leaned forward. Now show them what Earth brings to war. All ships opened fire. The human fleet responded instantly. But instead of energy weapons, they used something the Crother had never encountered in modern warfare. RAILGUNs. Massive magnetic accelerators. Fired solid projectiles at a percentage of light speed. Tungsten penetrators weighing several tons each. Kinetic energy weapons that delivered devastating force through pure physics. The first salvo caught the Crother completely off guard. Their shields, designed to disperse energy weapons, did almost nothing against solid matter moving at such velocity. 3 Crother destroyers exploded instantly as railgun rounds punched through their hulls. The projectiles continued through multiple decks, destroying everything in their path before exiting out the other side. What hit us? Drog roared. What weapons are those? Kinetic projectiles, Commander. Primitive technology, but moving at extreme velocities. Our shields cannot stop them effectively. The human fleet pressed forward, firing continuously. Railguns hammered the Crother line. Missile batteries added to the assault, launching smart weapons that weaved through point defense systems. But the humans added something else. Something that terrified the watching KRATH or dot fighter wings. 50 small craft launched from the human carriers. They moved with incredible speed and precision, darting between the massive capital ships. Their pilots flew with aggressive confidence, executing maneuvers that seemed impossible. A squadron of fighters targeted a Crother cruiser. They split into pairs, attacking from multiple angles. Their weapons fired in coordinated bursts, hitting the same shield sections repeatedly until they collapsed. Once through, they targeted engine systems and weapons arrays with surgical precision. The cruiser tried to rotate its point defense guns to track them, but the human fighters were too fast. They had been trained in Earth's atmosphere, where mistakes meant death, where gravity and weather tested every pilot to their limits. Space combat, by comparison, gave them freedom they used masterfully. "They fight like demons," a Krather officer screamed. "They show no fear." Drog watched his fleet take losses. 5 ships destroyed, 10 more heavily damaged. The humans had only lost 1 destroyer, and even that crew had evacuated successfully. "This is impossible," Drog said. "They are outnumbered 4 to 1. They should be fleeing. Why do they fight so fiercely?" His second-in-command spoke quietly. "Commander, reports say the Council rejected these humans, mocked them, called them barbarians. Yet they came anyway to defend those who insulted them." "Madness," Drog whispered. "Only madness would drive a species to such action." "Or honor, Commander. Perhaps Deathworlders understand concepts we have forgotten." On Nexus Prime Station, the Council members watched the battle in stunned silence. The view screens showed human ships tearing through the Krather, fleet with methodical efficiency. Vex's voice was barely audible. "They came back. After what we said. After how we treated them. They came back." Maya had tears in her blue eyes. "We called them barbarians, primitives. We said they only understood violence." "They do understand violence," Turk said softly. "But they also understand something we forgot. They understand duty, honor, sacrifice. They are not fighting for themselves. They are fighting for us." A massive explosion lit up the space outside. Another Krather battleship broke apart under human railgun fire. Fighter squadrons regrouped and targeted their next victim. Jax looked up from his console. "Chairman, we're receiving a transmission. Audio only. From the human flagship." "Play it," Vex ordered. Admiral Stone's voice filled the command center. It was calm, steady, and carried absolute authority. "Nexus Prime Station, this is Admiral Stone of Earth's 3rd Fleet. Hold your position. Maintain life support and wait for our signal. Humanity has arrived, and we are taking control of this battlefield. The Krather will not harm you today. This is our promise." The transmission ended. Vex looked at the others. "A promise. From those we rejected. From those we did not deserve," Maya added. Outside, the battle continued. The human fleet moved with practiced coordination, each ship covering another. Their weapons fired without pause. Their shields held against Krather counterattacks. And slowly, impossibly, the Krather fleet began to retreat. Commander Drog watched his forces pull back. 20 ships destroyed. 40 more damaged. The humans had lost only 3 vessels. 3. Against a fleet that had conquered dozens of systems. "Withdraw," Drog ordered, his voice hollow. "Full retreat. We will regroup, and Commander." His tactical officer interrupted. "The human admiral is broadcasting on all frequencies." Stone's voice echoed across the battlefield, reaching every ship, every station, every sensor array within range. "Attention, Krather Empire. This is Admiral Stone of the Earth military. You have attacked a civilian station. You have threatened peaceful species. You have brought war to this sector. But you made one critical mistake. You assumed Deathworlders would not answer the call. You assumed we would be like you, concerned only with ourselves. You were wrong." A pause. Then Stone's voice grew colder. "Earth hereby declares this station and these people under our protection. Any further aggression will be met with total war. You call us primitive? Then fear our primitive weapons. You call us barbarians? Then tremble at our barbaric determination. You wanted war. Humanity will give you war beyond your darkest nightmares. This is your only warning. Leave now or face extinction. The human fleet held position, weapons still hot, ready to resume firing. Trog looked at the tactical displays. He had never retreated before. Never. But something in that human voice made him pause. It was not anger, not hatred. It was absolute certainty. The certainty of a species that had climbed to the top of their Deathworld's food chain and stayed there. Full retreat, Trog ordered quietly. Maximum speed. We leave this sector. The Krather fleet turned and fled into hyperspace. 200 ships running from 50. It was humiliating. But it was survival dot as the last Krather vessel vanished. Cheers erupted throughout Nexus Prime Station. The human fleet maintained defensive positions, running damage assessments and recovering wounded. Admiral Stone stood on his bridge, watching the tactical display clear of enemy contacts. Harris approached him. Sir, we're receiving thousands of messages from the station. They want to thank you. Chairman Vex is requesting permission to speak with you directly. Stone nodded slowly. Tell them we will send shuttles to assess damage and provide medical aid. As for Chairman Vex, he paused. Tell him Ambassador David will handle diplomatic communications. I'm just a soldier. Yes, sir. Harris smiled. Sir, if I may, that was one hell of a speech. Stone allowed himself a small smile. It wasn't a speech, Lieutenant. It was the truth. We're Deathworlders. We don't abandon people. Not even people who don't like us very much. He looked out at Nexus Prime Station, battered but intact. Besides, the galaxy is about to learn something important. Earth doesn't seek war. We don't want conquest. But if you threaten the innocent, if you prey on the weak, if you bring darkness to peaceful worlds. His eyes hardened. Then humanity will bring the light, and will burn away the darkness with fire and fury until only justice remains. The crew on the bridge stood a little straighter. They understood. They were not conquerors. They were protectors. That was what made them different. That was what made them human dot in the command center of Nexus Prime. Vex watched human shuttles approach with medical supplies and repair equipment. Around him, council members wept with relief and shame. They saved us, Maya whispered. The ones we mocked. The ones we rejected. They saved us. Turk looked at the human ships holding formation outside. Perhaps we were wrong. Perhaps Deathworlders are not the barbarians. Perhaps we are the barbarians for thinking peace meant weakness. Vex straightened his insectoid frame. Send a message to all council members. Emergency session in 2 days. We have much to discuss. Starting with a formal apology to Earth. And then, he looked at his colleagues. Then we must admit the truth. The galaxy needs humanity. We need their strength, their courage, their honor. Will they forgive us? Maya asked. I don't know, Vex replied honestly. But we must ask. And we must change. The humans showed us what true civilization looks like. It is not about comfort or peace alone. It is about standing up for what is right, even when it costs you everything. Outside the station, human fighters patrolled the perimeter. Human engineers prepared to help with repairs. Human medics readied their supplies. The Deathworlders had come to war. And through war, they had shown the galaxy what peace truly meant. The mockery had ended. The respect had begun. And across 1,000 worlds, species watched the recordings of the battle and learned a new truth. Never underestimate those who survived the worst. Never mock those who crawled from hell and learned to stand, because when darkness comes, only those forged in fire can burn it away. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage. and the galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk.